And I call the honourable member for Charlton.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I rise to oppose the abolition of the Clean Energy Finance Corporation because it is a vital piece in this nation's armoury to combat climate change. I'm going to go back to some facts that seem to have passed the previous speaker by. The consensus in science now is that man-made climate change is as certain as the fact that tobacco causes cancer. They are that certain now. That fact is rejected by those on the other side. Another fact, international action. Over 1 billion people now live in nations or provinces where there is a carbon price of some form. By 2016, there will be 3 billion people. Those on the other side are condemning us to trade retaliation if we do not put an effective carbon price on to combat climate change. Third fact, every decent economist, none on that side, have concluded that a market-based system, principally either an emissions trading scheme or a fixed price, is the most effective way of combat climate change. A market price complemented by adequate industry and innovation policy measures to support this transition. Because if we go back to the basis of all this, Mr Deputy Speaker, we are living in a carbon-constrained world. The nations that succeed in the future will be the ones that decarbonise their economy. Countries like China, where 200 million people now already live in provinces where there is an emissions trading scheme. 200 million. By 2016, the entire nation is aimed to have an emissions trading scheme driving their economy. Economic history shows that the countries that take advantage and move first are the ones that benefit from industrial revolutions, whether it was the English during the first industrial revolution based on steam and textiles, the second industrial revolution based on chemicals and electricity being the United States and Germany, the third industrial revolution based on electronics and the transistor in particular, driven by the Japan and United States. And the next one will be about decarbonising our economy. And I want my daughter to grow up in an economy where we've made that transition, where we've invested to make that transition so that our industries have a chance to compete globally. Our industries aren't the horse and cart industries in the era of the automotive car. And this is a great debate to have because it shows how the other side just don't get it. We had a previous speaker, someone on the front bench, talk about risk, who willfully misunderstood the innovation cycle, that the first-of-type projects often don't get a full commercial rate of return. They can still get a decent rate of return, but they don't often overcome the barriers that often are 10–15% that the private sector demands to take a risk. It is entirely appropriate that the Commonwealth support innovation and industry policy, support the first-of-type projects, whether it's large-scale solar thermal, very revolutionary energy efficiency projects. Not only are they important for being the first-mover types to demonstrate to the private sector that they can take action, they also can have a rate of return. Mr Deputy Speaker, the Clean Energy Finance Corporation has already invested in $2.2 billion worth of projects where the average yield is projected to be 7.33% on average. That is well above the long-term bond rate. Yes, it's below the internal rate of return that some in the private sector demand, but it is return that is well and truly paying back the debt that is being taken on to fund these important projects. This covers 39 projects already in play. A further 170 proposals with a cumulative investment of $15 billion are approaching the Clean Energy Finance Corporation for investment. So if I can return to the substance of this, which is how best do we combat climate change? We have the command and control over there by Comrade Abbott, a return to central planning that Lenin and Stalin would be proud of. This is what the Liberal Party has degenerated into, state-directed investment of the worst sort that we haven't seen since the 1930s in Russia, versus a market-based system that every economist worth their salt, Ross Garnaut, Lord Stern, people supported by both sides of politics, Malcolm Turton, the member for Wentworth, supported in a previous life. Market-based systems that are the most efficient way of tackling climate change, backed up by sound industry policy that makes the Commonwealth money, that has first-of-type demonstration effects for the rest of the economy. This is the sensible way. This is what those on the other side are voting against, because they're economic Philistines, and just as former Treasurer Peter Costello said of Tony Abbott, he just doesn't get economics. He just not get economics, and with the knighthoods, he just wants to return to the past, condemning
Order.
our
The member's
future.
time has expired. The question